Thank you very much, John, and thank you everyone for coming out to hear the Trifecta story. It's a bit of a new company. We just restructured last summer to acquire this belt of projects. So going to have some forward-looking statements as we're looking for some multi-million ounce gold deposits that haven't been drilled off yet, but that's what we're here to do. So we've got a tight share structure. As I mentioned, we've got only 30 million out. We've got a pathway to 100% interest in a package of projects in the Tombstone Belt, which is arguably one of the hottest gold exploration belts in the world. There's been over 17 million ounces defined in resource in the last 4 years. So pretty incredible spot to be looking. And our flagship project is directly adjacent to the only operating mine in Yukon, Hecla's high-grade Keno Hill mine and mill complex. Where am I pointing this? There we go. Okay, so here's the opportunity. The Tombstone Gold Belt extends from Alaska in through the Yukon. In Alaska, it's known for Fort Knox and Pogo. Different styles of deposits, but both intrusion related, so we'll touch on why that's important. And here in Yukon, you've had Sitka Gold define a couple million ounces so far, still growing. And then on the other end of the belt, we've got the Valley Discovery by Snowline, which is 7 million ounces and growing. And directly adjacent to us, overlying a Pluton, is the Ormac, which is another 7 million ounces. So an incredible gold endowment in this belt. And so this is what we're trying to do here with Trifecta Gold, basically copy what they did with Snowline. You know, put together an attractive package of projects and go make a drill discovery. And this is why we invest in pre-resource discoveries, and it's, you know, the multiples you can get here. You can see from Snowline's chart, in the first 2 years after discovery, they were 10x'd, and they did over 40x in 4 years on continued success. And just to put this in context, they had about 90 million shares out before they drilled their discovery hole. So we were sitting at about a third of those shares. And so the project is probably the most well-located project in Yukon. We're directly adjacent to Hecla's Keno Hill operations, where they've been mining high-grade silver veins for about 100 years. And so the quartzite package that hosts all these extends onto our ground. And historically, United Keno Hill actually owned part of the Mount Hinton project. And on the north-facing slopes, they found a number of veins that actually drilled some of them. And the issue back when they made those discoveries was that the price of gold was $30 an ounce. And so they weren't even asking for gold. They drilled some of these veins, and they found that they were in the neighborhood of 100 to a couple hundred grams silver, which is much lower grade than what you have at Keno, which is in the thousands of grams to tens of thousands of grams. And then they would note in their drill logs, oh, visible gold was also in the vein, but no assays. So we've come back in here, obviously, based on the success of a lot of our neighbors and taken another look at it. And so our parent company drilled some holes in here in 2020 that are highlighted at the top, had some really nice results, and then the project was optioned out to a private group. They basically floundered through lockdowns in Canada, and the project came back to Strategic. And so when, I'm also vice president at Strategic Metals, the project generator, as full disclosure there. So when the project came back to us, I went to the CEO and of Strategic and said, look, gold just broke through $2,000 an ounce US. We've got to find a way to get this package in play. Let's put it in, let's restructure Trifecta, let's get it into Trifecta, and we'll go make the discoveries in an in-house vehicle, which we've done before. And so the Keno Hill district, obviously known for its silver endowment, but there was a major discovery made in the southern part of this Granite Creek, which is already on the Mount Hinton ground. So historically, the workers used some of these roads on the northern part of the project to find the silver gold veins. But in 2016, when this road got put in, all of a sudden it opened up the entire southern part of this mountain range, which hadn't been looked at before. And it actually turned into one of the most exciting placer operations in all of Yukon. Granite Creek here, these production numbers from the placer operation are only from sort of 2017 to 2022. So an incredibly rich placer deposit is coming right off of our ground. And as you can see, every single drainage coming off our property is being mined for placer gold. So we know there's abundant gold there. When we got into the southern part of our claim block, we did big soil geochem surveys. We followed that up with LiDAR surveys. That helped us pick out a number of very nice looking large structures that we followed up and discovered additional veins. Here's a little snapshot of some of those. The ones to the north, or some of the historically discovered veins. where you can see here, we've got, the lower silver grades, like I said. I mean, they're still good. They're still over, 100 gram per ton, but they're not the Keno Hill grades. But what you need to notice there's also 100 grams per ton gold with some of those assays. And so that was the kind of thing that was overlooked by the previous operators. This number 5 vein was discovered by United Keno Hill. That's one of the ones where, again, they had these 7-meter intersects, close to 100 grams silver, and notes of visible gold in the drill results, but no assays for gold. So we've come back into these projects and done surface sampling along strike, demonstrating that we have ounce per ton gold numbers in these systems. And so obviously, there's a lot of ounces could be hand waved in some of these structures. Here's one that Strategic drilled in 2020. Had a couple intersects that were 9 to 12 meters of 6 to 9 gram gold equivalents. We chased this all the way along strike. I'm showing a 1 kilometer strike on that vein where we've traced it all the way along that surface, have lots of really high grade surface samples there where we have it at surface. And it's also exposed over a 500 meter vertical. And so not only does that give you a nice mining situation, but it shows to us that it's not an epithermal vein. They would typically have a boiling point that would be a couple hundred meters. This is much greater. So another data point to tell us that this could be intrusion related. And so we drilled into some of those veins, nice low sulfide quartz veins. So very similar to like a pogo type deposit, which is in the Alaskan offset of this belt, which is also intrusion related. So again, zooming out to the larger district, these are all the veins that are known over about 100 years of mining. We come onto our ground, we find the more gold-rich veins, and then we flew a geophysical survey this summer to see if we could find, where is this source intrusion. So the model everyone in the district has been using is this reduced intrusion model that was put together by Craig Hart. One of our advisors, Moira Smith, was a co-author on this paper. And basically what it shows here is that you've got these gold arsenic veins surrounding a smaller pluton. And it's in these plutons that companies like Sitka and Snowline have had their success drilling off these gold porphyry systems. And then when you step out further afield, you get into the lead zinc mineralization. And so basically we overlaid this model onto our property with the brand new geophysical survey that identified this mag low down in the valley bottom. So as soon as we got that preliminary data, I sent a prospector out there. Sorry, this is the Snowline discovery to scale. So just how big are these things? They're don't have that big a footprint. 500 meters. So when we overlay that deposit onto where we've went and followed up our geophysical anomaly, right where this coincident resistivity feature and magnetic feature come to surface, we were able to find granitic rocks. These are some of the first granitic rocks ever found on the property. There's some quartz veining in there. So now we have a geochemical signature pointing us in that direction, geophysical signatures pointing us there. We ground truthed it with the right type of rocks, and we're looking to put the first drill holes into there. And so our theory was that a lot of these other veins were coming off of this big source intrusion. So that'll be huge for us this summer. We never had a drill hole into it. There's actually a placer road was put right through that anomaly a couple of years ago. So it's one of the few road accessible projects up in Yukon. We do have a number of other projects throughout that belt. The ones sort of in the center of the belt, earlier stage, they've got the same stream sediment geochemistry that was used to stake the valley target. Also similar geophysics. The one we focused on last year was the Rye, which is about 14 kilometers off of the Northern Canal Highway, which just received some funding from the U.S. Department of Defense. And there we have identified a coincident anomaly right on the margins of a Tombstone Sweep pluton, which is in the hatching. This is the Hornfells, and right in that Hornfells zone, we've got a 500-meter wide anomaly, which is intense for gold, which is shown here, and then bismuth and tellurium anomaly, all coincident there. So we've got all the right geochemical signatures. Some beautiful sheeted veining was discovered as well, so we're going to be advancing that to the drill stage this summer as well. The other targets, as I mentioned, will be advancing on a more low-key basis. The focus here is to get some discovery drilling done at Mount Hinton into that target. And really the kicker here is, we only have 30 million shares outstanding. We got big supporters with Condire and Strategic being the property vendor. Condire has people on our board and our technical advisory committee, and then insiders hold about 15% of the company. So very low float, so high torque to discovery. And that's really how we came up with the name Trifecta Gold. The team of geologists that's behind our company has discovered both of the highest grade, greater than 1 million ounce deposits in the history of Yukon, also the largest copper deposit. So we've got the people that know how to do it. We've got the projects, the flagship's road accessible, right adjacent to the only operating mine in Yukon, very tight share structure, and gold prices are, when they were first looking at this project, it was $30 an ounce for gold. Now it's over $125 a gram. So that's why we're there, and that's why you should buy Trifecta Gold. Thank you very much.